Hey Summit Kids, welcome back! Miss Janelle here again this Sunday, and today I'm prepping for soccer camp. Let me show you some of the stuff that I have been doing. What do you mean I'm doing it wrong? I'm playing soccer. This is my soccer ball and I was using it. Yeah, you're probably right. I'm supposed to use my feet. So I guess I better keep practicing to get ready for soccer camp. That being said, if you haven't signed up for soccer camp, tell your parents and get signed up. We would love to have you with us. There's going to be myself, Coach Janelle, Coach Maria. We're going to have Coach Justin back from last year, and we're really excited for our online soccer camp this year. So sign up because you don't want to miss out. Now, let's take a look at what we're gonna do today. All right, Summit Kids, today is the first day of Summer Serve, which means that our services are gonna look a little bit different from now until the end of summer. We're gonna be doing a craft or an experiment at the beginning of every service online. So what you're gonna need today is you're going to need to be sitting on the floor or at the table because you're going to need a hard surface so that you can do our craft, and you're going to need one piece of paper. So when we do this craft, if you need to pause it so that you can keep up, or you need a little bit of extra time, please pause it and take the time that you need. So take a minute, get comfy, get a piece of paper, and get ready to get crafty. Alright, so today what we're going to be doing is we're going to make a paper boat. So you're going to need a piece of paper just like this. It doesn't have to be bent. I just had to restart my video, so mine is already bent. But you just need one piece of paper. We're going to start by turning the paper so that the short edge is towards you, and you're going to fold it in half. And make sure that you really press down your folds. Nice. So you should have a folded piece of paper now. Step number 2. You're going to take your paper, and now it's going to be longer facing you, and you're going to fold it again. So once you've folded it, make sure you press down those edges really well, and then you're going to open it back up again so that you have a line and then 2 little rectangles like this. Great. Next, what you're going to do is you're going to take those top corners. The corners should be connected. It shouldn't be the open end, but the connected end. You're going to take both of those corners and you're going to fold them over until you get to that little crease that you already made. So once they reach the bend in the middle, you're going to press it down. And then you're going to do that on both sides. So you're going to grab the corner, pull it to the line in the middle, and bend it into place once you get there. Great. So now you should have 2 triangles on the top and 2 long rectangles facing you. Awesome. Now what you're going to do is you're going to fold this top strip rectangle, just the top one, fold it up like that. And then you're going to, so now you kind of have like an open hat kind of thing. And then with these corners that are free right here, you're going to bend them back over the edge. And then you're going to turn it over. So now you have the back of the paper with the 2 little corners. You're going to fold this strip up again. Really press it into place. And then you're going to turn it around and fold those little pieces from the other side over top. So now when you pick it up, it should be like a little bowl, a triangle bowl, and you're going to push the corners together. So you're going to, that bowl that's flat, you're going to put your fingers on the corner and push them together. And then you're going to fold or press it all down so it makes a flat little square. There we go. So now you have a square like this. So now what we're going to do is we're going to fold up the top flap. You're going to take that top piece and you're going to fold it up until it meets the top triangle like this. There. So now you should be able to see this is where you just folded it. This is what's left. Then you're going to turn it over and do the same thing on the back side. Nice. So now you should have two triangles and they should be folded over on both sides. So now what you're going to do is you're going to open up the bottom of your triangle. And now we're going to have an even smaller version of that cone. So you're going to open it up. And then what you're going to do is on the top, you can see that there's a little crease. You're going to pull it apart and pull those two little pieces down nice and slowly so you don't rip your paper. You might have to play with your paper to get it to fall down nicely. Yep, I'm definitely going to have to. But those edges are going to create the walls of your boat, and the top of the triangle is going to be your little inside part of your boat. Like this. And now you have a paper boat. Alright, Summit Kids, now that we've made our paper boats, it's time to try them out. So I have some water here. If you're at home, you can put some water in your sink or in your bathtub, but since I don't have a sink or a bathtub here in my office, I'm just going to put it in this little bucket of water. Here we go. Nice. There we go. I made a whole bunch of boats because when I was taking videos, they didn't all work. So if yours didn't work out the first time, maybe you need to go through and pause it, and that's okay. But now we have a whole bunch of paper boats, and that reminds me of the big God story we're going to talk about today, and it has to do with the disciples on a boat and some really, really windy wind that was going over to create a storm in the water. I wonder what we're going to talk about today. Alright, Summit Kids, it is now time for our Remember Verse this week. If you have a Bible at home with you today, you can get that out, and we're going to open it up to the first book of the New Testament. Do you know what that is? If you said Matthew, you're right. So we're going to turn to Matthew 6, verse 8. And it says, "Your Father knows what you need before you ask Him." What? God knows what we need before we even ask. Oh, thanks for the new shoes, God. I didn't even ask. No, kidding. I didn't get new shoes. These are really old shoes. So how cool is that? So we're going to do some actions. I want you to do those actions with me. So, your Father knows what you need before you ask Him. Let's do that again. Your Father knows what you need before you ask Him. Matthew 6, verse 8. How cool is that? That's going to be our Remember Verse for the next few weeks. So let's try and remember those actions, and I'll see you next week with the Remember Verse. Summit Kids, it's time for worship. Stand up, stretch out, get a nice big stretch. It is time for worship.
My God is so big and so strong and so mighty. There's nothing my God cannot do. My God is so big and so strong and so mighty. There's nothing my God cannot do. My God is so big and so strong and so mighty. There's nothing my God cannot do. My God is so big and so strong and so mighty. There's nothing my God cannot do.
Do you ever get scared? Because I know that I definitely do, and I'm older than you. I'm scared of birds. All of the birds, the ducks, the geese, the little ones that have a nest in your tree. I don't like any of them. They all scare me so much. If I see them when I'm out for a walk, I will go all the way around them, or I'll just turn around because I don't want to face my fear. They scare me big time. And that's what we're going to talk about today. So in today's part of the big God story, Jesus showed the disciples that he is always near to them, even when they're scared. So let's talk to God right now. We're going to pray. So let's close our eyes, let's bow our heads, and we'll pray. Dear Jesus, we just thank you today for bringing us together online. We just thank you and pray for all of the kids who are watching right now, all of those who are going to watch later, and even those who aren't watching at all. God, we just pray that you would come into their hearts and make them feel loved. I pray today, God, that as we talk about the message where you are always with us when we're scared, I just pray that all kids would know that, God, that they would know that you're there to comfort them, and they can face their fears. I pray all of this in your name. Amen. So, this part of the big God story starts with lots and lots of people. They had gathered to come and hear Jesus teach, and even some who had come to be healed, because Jesus could heal people, right? Jesus and his disciples worked hard to show God's love to the people around them. They did a good job of that. They spent a lot of time teaching, healing those who were sick, and even feeding those who were hungry. Jesus and the disciples were near a huge lake. After their long day, Jesus sent the disciples out on a boat. They were traveling to the next place where they could share about God's love. Jesus sent the disciples ahead without him because he wanted to spend some time alone talking to God the Father. Let's pretend that this is our lake right here. Okay, so the disciples left the crowd of people and Jesus behind. They got into a boat that would take them to the other side of the lake. So they're starting here and they want to come over here, okay? So as Jesus was talking to God, he knew the disciples were in their boat out in the middle of the lake. A strong wind had come up and it was making it really hard for the disciples to get the boat to go in the direction they wanted. Here we go. Paddle, paddle, paddle. Paddle, paddle, paddle. No luck. The storm was too big. It was creating huge waves like this. But this wasn't just a nice little breeze. It was a big storm and the waves splashed all around them. The boat was rocking back and forth and the disciples were scared. For the rest of the storytelling, we're just going to pretend that the wind and the waves continue so that I don't have to make the wind or the waves, okay? So let's imagine it's still windy, it's still wavy. The disciples are still scared, okay? I got to dump out the boat. Just before the sun came up, the disciples were still struggling against the storm. Jesus went out and met them along the water. But Jesus didn't take another boat. No, Jesus was walking. He walked on water. As the disciples saw him getting closer, they didn't understand what was happening. People don't just walk on water, but Jesus wasn't like any other person because Jesus is God. When Jesus saw that the disciples were frightened, he called out to them and said, "It's me. Don't be afraid." Peter had to see just for himself that it was really Jesus on the water. So, Peter, who is really big for his boat, he's quite big for his boat, jumped over the side of the boat, and Jesus helped him walk on water too. But before long, Peter started to notice that the wind and waves were getting big, and he forgot that Jesus was there with him, and he began to sink into the water. So he cried out, "Lord, save me!" Right away, Jesus reached out and caught Peter. Jesus was near. Jesus and Peter climbed into the boat. Get in the boat, guys. There we go. And the wind stopped. And the waves also stopped. Wow. How cool is that? The storm is now calm. Wow. Everyone began to worship Jesus, and the boat sailed on, taking Jesus and the disciples to shore. And there, we're back on shore. Even when they didn't realize it, Jesus was always near to his friends because he is God. When the waves were rough, he was near. When they were afraid, he was near. All they had to do was look to Jesus and remember that they could trust him. God is near to us too. So when we get scared, we have to know that God is near. And because he is near, we can trust him to always listen and give us everything that we need. How cool is it that Jesus is always near? When we're scared, Jesus is there, even if we don't know it. And he is there to comfort us as long as we can trust that he is going to help us through those tough times. So next time that you're scared, remember, Jesus is near. Thanks for tuning in this week, Summit Kids. We look forward to seeing you next week online. And don't forget, sign up for soccer camp. Gah!